What's up, everybody? Big Swede coming at you once again from Swede Studios. I hope everyone's holiday season was great. I had a great holiday, Christmas, Thanksgiving, everything was great. And now with the holidays kind of winding down, the year coming to a close, I thought it would be a good time to do a guitar walkthrough video. In some of the other studio gear walkthrough stuff I've done, I had people comment and ask me to go through my guitars. And I figured, like I said, with the year coming to a close, now would be a perfect time to do that. I will say I don't have the biggest guitar collection in the world. There's a lot of guys that have way more guitars than me. But on a personal side, this is the most guitars I've ever owned in my life. Through most of my life, I had maybe 3 to 5 at most. Sometimes I only had 1 or 2. So this is definitely a change for me. The guitar collection has grown a bit over the last few years. So without any further ado, let's jump into it and go through every guitar in my collection as of December 2023. Let's get in it. All right, first on the list is my bass. The only bass in my collection at the moment. This is an Ibanez SR400 EQM. You know, it's your basic, mid-range Ibanez sound gear bass, 4-string. It does what I need it to do. I'm not a bass player by any means, but, sometimes if I'm recording something for myself and I don't feel like programming out, bass in like Easy Bass or something like that, I just want to lay something down real quick. This is what I'm picking up for that. I'm actually recording some bass for an original project. I'm working with a buddy of mine, and this is the bass that I'm using for that. I do eventually want to get a 5-string here. This works for now, but, if I start venturing into lower tunings, sometimes the strings can get a little flubby. So I'd like to get a 5-string in the future for those purposes where I need to down tune a lot. But for right now, Ibanez SR400. It's a pretty guitar. Nice, quilted maple top there. 5-piece maple and walnut, I think it is, on the neck. But solid guitar. Neck feels great. As a guitar player, sometimes basses can be a little chunky. So this feels great. Easy to play. Ibanez SR400. All right, next up, we're going to move into acoustics. Starting with this right here. This is the Ibanez AEL20E. I picked this up back in 2011, 2012 timeframe. I hadn't been playing for a few years. I did have an acoustic at the time, but it was kind of cheap to begin with, and it was in bad shape for years of neglect. I hadn't really touched it, so I wanted something nice that I could start fiddling around again. So I found this, picked it up. It's a really nice guitar. I don't know if the camera picks it up very well. It's got a nice flame maple top there, rosewood fingerboard here. It's just a good sounding guitar. It does have Fishman electronics in there. So you can run a cord out to an amp or direct into the computer to record with. Generally, when I record acoustic, I do both. I mic the guitar itself, and then I'll also run a cable out and go direct into the computer. And if I want to do any kind of post-processing after the fact, add some effects, whatnot, I'll do that on the pickup side, and then I'll blend that in with the mics, which is my main acoustic tone, and that's where I get my acoustic tones from. But yeah, solid guitar, even after 10+ years, still going strong. All right. Then we have the beautiful Paul Reed Smith SE Angelus A50E. As with anything that PRS puts out, it's absolutely beautiful. This was a bucket list guitar for me for a long time. I love the PRS stuff. It's always beautiful. You got a spruce top here, beautiful flame maple back, abalone binding all the way around. Obviously, the bird inlays. It's just a beautiful guitar. Plays great. I love the way it sounds. This was a birthday gift to I guess to myself. My mama told me to go out and buy a guitar for myself for my birthday this year, and this is what I came home with. Absolutely beautiful. Love it. All right, moving on to the electrics. We're going to start with the oldest guitar in my collection, the very first guitar I ever bought. This is a Martin Stinger. obviously a Fender Stratocaster copy. Martin, more well known for their acoustic guitars, but in the late 80s, early 90s, they kind of tossed their hat into the electric market and were making these, affordable but decent quality guitars. Um, so I picked this up in 1993, I believe it was. So, 15, 16-year-old Swede saved up his birthday money, went down to the local music store in Honesdale, PA. I think it was called Major Music. It's not there anymore. But when I went down there, this was really the only guitar in my price range at the time. So I grabbed it and I proceeded to learn guitar on this. Played my first shows with this guitar. Yeah, so it's got a special place in my heart. A couple years later, I was looking to get something a little bit better, so I sold this to a high school buddy of mine. And I never really thought about it again until a couple years ago. I got hit with this like nostalgia bug about certain guitars from my past. I've talked about this in another video, but that buddy that I'd sold it to, he posted a picture on Facebook about his man cave or something, and I saw this guitar in the background. And, that started a little bit of a back and forth negotiation. And long story short, earlier this year, I was able to get this guitar back from him. It's definitely showing her age. She's beat up in spots, but I didn't want this guitar necessarily because it was a great playing guitar or it was, high end, because it's not. It was a really cheap. It was a piece of crap. It still is a piece of crap. I wanted it for the sentimental value of this being the very first guitar that I ever bought, the guitar that I learned how to play on. So, yeah, the Martin Stinger, basic Strat copy, 25.5-inch scale, 3 single coils. Yeah, she pretty much has a space on my wall now. She hangs up there. I look at it with fond memories. Maybe we'll do a song or two with it back in the going back into the grunge stuff maybe. But yeah, the Martin Stinger, oldest guitar, first guitar in my collection. All right, this next guitar is no surprise to anybody that knows me and my background as far as when I learned to play guitar. This was a Christmas present from my wife and my oldest son a couple years ago. This is the Fender Kurt Cobain 1965 Jaguar. It's basically a recreation, reissue of Kurt's famous 1965 Jag. I learned to play guitar based on the grunge movement and in specific Kurt Cobain. I kind of grew up before that as a metalhead, but I would see these guys, like the Eddie Van Halens and the Kirk Hammett's and Dave Mustaine's and Yngwie Malmsteen's, like all these dudes doing these crazy what seemed to me superhuman things, and I was like, I could never do that. Because all these guys were just larger than life. And then along came this band Nirvana, and this guy Kurt Cobain, who, from a technical point of view, was not a great guitar player, but he was a good songwriter, and he just got up there and did his thing. And I just really took inspiration from that, and I looked at that as I could do that. Like me, I could go out and I could buy a guitar, and I could learn how to do that. It wasn't such a huge step to, these crazy guitar gods where I felt like I could never reach that. And in some instances, I still haven't all these years later. But Kurt was something I could emulate, and I could sit down and learn how to play guitar. So this guitar right here was probably the inspiration for me wanting to learn how to play guitar. Went out and bought that Martin Stinger, and the rest is history. This is actually an odd guitar, really. It's most of my guitars are 25.5-inch scale. There's a couple different ones in here, but this is a 24-inch scale. So it's really weird. It's not a Fender scale. It's not a Gibson scale. It's smaller than both, so it feels kind of weird to play. It's also got like a 9-inch radius, which actually makes like playing bar chords really easy. But it just feels weird compared to some of my flatter necks. But yeah, love this guitar for what it represents. Anytime I'm gonna do any kind of grunge era songs, this is always the guitar I'm reaching for. This lives in standard drop D, maybe a half step down depending on what the song is, but that's where this guitar lives. It's got the DiMarzio Super Distortion and the I think it's the PAF 36th anniversary in the neck. A lot of weird controls on this one. It's 2 volumes and a tone. You got a 3-way for your pickups, but then you also have this section up here where you have scroll wheels for the volume and tone. It's an oddball. It's kind of weird, but it's cool. It's got a cool vibe to it, and I love this one. It's always hanging on the wall. All right, next up is a newer addition to the collection. I bought this earlier this year. This is the Solar Guitars X 2.6 ROP Plus. Ola has some fun with his names, I think, sometimes. Anyway, I'm a big Pantera fan, huge Dimebag Darrell fan. The ML body shape is iconic, will be forever associated with Dimebag Darrell. I've wanted one for a long time, but the problem with the MLs, and especially the dime related MLs, is they're like super expensive. Anything dime related is super expensive. And they all come with Floyds. And I'm not a Floyd Rose guy. That's a topic for a different discussion. But I could buy one and it would basically hang on the wall as a display piece. I probably wouldn't play it very much, being a Floyd. So, when I saw that Ola was coming out with this, the Solar X Type, his obviously his take on the ML body style. And then I saw this guitar in particular. I knew I had to have it. I mean, first of all, the color. Everybody that knows me knows I'm a sucker for black and red. I love it. But also, string through body, Tone Pro style bridge. I love that. This is a guitar I will actually play. So we got a 24 3/4 inch scale, which, as I said before, I'm more of a 25.5 inch guy. But, being what this is inspired off of, 24 3/4, whatever, I'll make that exception. It is a 22 fret, but, I'm not. I'm a chugga guy. I'm not a whittly guy. So 22 frets works just fine for me. 22, 24, doesn't matter. Ebony fretboard. It's beautiful. Like that Solar inlay there at the 12th against the ebony. It just looks super clean. I love it. You've got this open pore finish here. It just looks, dude, look at that thing. It just looks mean. And it's deadly too. If you're not careful with this thing, man, you could impale yourself. You got the Duncan Solar Plus pickups in there. 1 volume, 1 tone, push pull. You got a 3-way switch for the pickups there. But yeah, this is my my dime guitar, if you will. And you can guarantee you're going to see some Pantera tunes coming in the near future, and it will feature this bad boy right here. All right, next up, one of my favorite guitars. This is a 2019 Paul Reed Smith SE Custom 24. This is the SE line, so it's the more budget-friendly PRS line. I would love to one day own a PRS core model. Right now, I just can't justify spending that much more money on a guitar when something like this exists. This is a beautiful guitar. Inside and out, it plays well. It looks amazing. You got that nice flame maple top there. Now on the core model, it's a mahogany body and a maple cap. On the SE, it's the same thing. It's a maple cap, but it doesn't look as nice. And then they put a nice figured veneer over the top of it. So that's one of those like cost saving methods. You don't have to have as nice a chunk of wood at the top. because you're just putting a veneer over the top. But it looks beautiful. It doesn't matter. Like, if you don't tell someone that that's a veneer, they're never gonna know. It's beautiful. Another one of the kind of trade-offs. This did not come with locking tuners, but I installed a set of PRS locking tuners on it. So again, I did a little bit of work here and improved it a bit to make it more in line with the core model. Obviously, it's not the same. This came originally with Paul Reed Smith 8515 pickup set, I think it was. I've swapped that out with Seymour Duncan distortion set. I've used distortions for a long time, so it's just kind of more my style. Simple controls, volume, tone. You got to push pull to coil tap, split, whatever. 3-way blade. PRS trim, which I have blocked off. I don't like trims. I kind of touched on it earlier with the Floyd stuff, but it's blocked off, so it doesn't move. But absolutely love this guitar. Those bird inlays. It's one of those iconic things. You see those bird inlays, it's a Paul Reed Smith. But they make beautiful instruments. This thing, in my opinion, punches well above its price range. It's a beautiful guitar. I love playing it. I use this a lot. I've used it a lot on my Seven Dust covers I've done. So this kind of lives in pretty low tuning, down like A sharp kind of tuning. Gets a little tricky sometimes with that shorter 25-inch scale. It's a weird 25 inches. Paul Reed Smith, if you know their stuff, they sit kind of in the middle ground between the Fender scale 25.5 and the Gibson scale 24 3/4. So they kind of sit in that middle ground. So sometimes lower tunings on this can be a little bit of a challenge. You gotta kind of work with it a little bit, but once it's set up, man, it plays great. I love this guitar, and it's always, if you watch any videos of the studio, it's always hanging up on the wall up there. So one of my favorite guitars. Love it. All right, this next guitar needs no introduction if you watch the channel. This is the Harley Benton JA20. We're calling this now. Harley Benton ships this as the JA20HH Active SBK. But yeah, I won't go into too much detail on that. There's a whole build video series on how we got to this point. If you want to watch that, I'll put a link up there in the description. But the idea was, we took a really cheap $140 guitar, and just as an experiment, wanted to see if we stripped it down and rebuilt it with good quality components, what could we turn it into? Would it be a solid guitar, or would it be just a $140 guitar with expensive stuff in it? And for all in less than $700 on this guitar, it plays awesome. I gotta say. You can watch, like I said, watch this video series. I'll go into more detail on it, but we simplified it a bit. We changed out that bridge that causes the noise issues with this particular model. Went to a single pickup, Fishman Fluence Fluff model pickup there. Single volume, no tone, no switches. Very simple design. Put some ratio locking tuners on there from Graphtec. This thing's a beast now. Plays great. The satin finish on the neck, it feels amazing to play. So yeah, if you're looking for a project to do, you want to take a pretty inexpensive guitar and turn it into something of your own specs, man, pick one of these things up, because once you get past the initial issues of the guitar as it shipped from Harley Benton, it's a solid guitar. Plays great. This thing lives in drop D land. Use it primarily for those nice, heavy, chunky drop D riffs. But yeah, Harley Benton JA20. All right, next up is the only 7-string and the only multi-scale guitar in my collection. This is the Schecter C-7 Rob Scallon Signature 7-string. I'd kind of been on the lookout. I wanted to get a 7-string. I had been looking at several different models of 7-strings. I wanted to get one. I'd never really played around with them that much. And this one just kind of ticked all of the boxes. I knew I wanted to get a multi-scale, just because, when you start getting into lower tunings, having that longer scale length helps with the string tension and stuff. So I wanted to have a multi-scale. But I didn't want something that had like a very extreme, fan fretting on it. Like if you look at this guitar, it's almost hard to tell that it's a multi-scale. The fan fret on it is so minimum that at a quick glance you can't even really tell. So I like that. It's not like you don't have to like play chords at any kind of weird obscure angles or anything. It's a very, modest looking guitar. Like it's not flashy or anything. It's got that same kind of like open pore finish as the Solar X Type I have. I just dig it, and just that natural wood grain. It's just, I don't know, it's a classy look for me. I like it. Mahogany set through neck, swamp ash wings on it. This comes with the Duncan Rob Scallon signature pickups in it. It's got some Schecter locking tuners on there. Scale length. On the high string, it's 25.5, which is my normal preferred scale length. And then on the low end, it's a 26.25. So, you get a little bit of extra length on the low end to help with that string tension, but a normal 25.5 inch scale on the high string, so you're not really, stretching that high string too much. It's a really good guitar. I really need to get my act together and do some stuff with this. I have some songs planned that are going to be utilizing the 7-string here. I just haven't gotten around to it. I've played around with it quite a bit, but just haven't really committed to let's get a song done with this. But yeah, it's coming soon. Simple controls once again: volume, tone, push pull, 3-way blade. Pretty simple. Works great for my first 7-string, and I look forward to doing some stuff with it real soon. It's going to be a priority in 2024 to do some stuff with this. All right, next up, getting close to the end here, we have the Schecter C-1 Silver Mountain in Blood Moon finish. This is another one of those guitars where as soon as I saw it advertised, I was like, I've got to have that guitar. As I said earlier with the Solar X Type, the black-red color scheme it's my favorite thing. I love it, and this guitar just does it really well. The camera doesn't do it justice. The finish on this thing is beautiful. It's got that metallic kind of candy apple red mixed in with the black. It's just a beautiful guitar. It's got this very subtle, nice black binding going around the entire guitar. Nice abalone line inlays there. You got the lumen lay glow-in-the-dark side dots on the neck as well. Really, really nice. You have locking tuners on here. 25.5 inch scale neck, 24 stainless steel frets. So, this thing's a solid guitar. You got the hip shot EB bridge here. I've always been more of a fan of the string through body with the Tone Pro style bridge. That's just what I grew accustomed to. But this thing is nice too. I have no issues with this style bridge. You have the Schecter USA Sonic Seducer pickups in here. No complaints. There's no desire to swap these pickups out whatsoever. They sound great. You got 2 volumes and a tone with a push-pull. You have a 3-way blade switch there. Beautiful, beautiful guitar. At the time I bought this a couple years ago, it was the most expensive guitar I ever bought at the time. I think I paid $1,200 all in for this thing, and as I said, I had a rule that I would never spend more than $1,000. That's gone out the window since, because $1,000 is the new $600. And it's just the world we live in, where things cost more money. Occasionally you can find a diamond in the rough here and there, but $1,000 seems to be kind of the break-even point where you're getting something solid. But yeah, beautiful guitar. Love it. This thing lives generally in D standard kind of area. It might fluctuate, do some drop stuff here and there, but generally this thing is living in D standard. One of my favorites. I've always been a Schecter C1 guy for a long time, so this was a great addition. All right, last but definitely not least, the second oldest guitar in my collection, My favorite guitar of all time is this 2002 Schecter C-1 Elite. This, in my opinion, and maybe I'm biased, but this, in my opinion, is the best production guitar that Schecter has ever put out. This guitar is just flat out amazing. It wasn't a high-end guitar when I bought it in 2002. I think I paid $400 or $500 for it. It was just a solid mid-range guitar, but this guitar has it. Whatever it is, it's not something you can quantify, but this guitar has it. I reach for this guitar more than any other guitar in my collection. I have much more expensive guitars, much newer guitars. I reach for this all the time. And people that I talk to that own these and love these guitars say the same exact thing. Like, they can't put into words what it is. It just feels right. And really, that's all I can say about it too. It just feels amazing when I pick this guitar up. It makes me want to play it all the time. But solid, clean-looking guitar. A lot of people complain about Schecters in this era, or even now. Like, they use a lot of abalone and stuff. Like, this has got the abalone binding going around the whole thing. They don't like the look of it. Say it looks tacky or whatever. I think it's beautiful. I think it's nice and classy looking. The clean fretboard, other than the 12th fret double diamonds there, I love it. Nice, clean, black. Can't beat that. But yeah, it's just a solid guitar. I've put some stuff into this. We've got some Graphtec ratio locking tuners on here. I don't own a guitar anymore that I don't put locking tuners on of some kind, but I love the ratio tuners. They're amazing. I talked about them in one of the other videos. String through body, Tone Pros, my preferred setup. This did come originally with Duncan design pickups in here. I swapped them out for a Seymour Duncan distortion in the bridge and a 59 in the neck. I love that setup. Simple controls, volume, tone with a push-pull, three-way toggle. It's just a solid guitar, man. I don't know what it is about it, but I love it. I think it's the best guitar Schecter's ever made. I wish they weren't discontinued, but I can always try to find more of these. But this will never be sold. This will get passed on to my kids one day, and hopefully they'll have years of enjoyment with it too. All right, guys, so there you go. My entire guitar collection as of December 2023. Maybe we'll make this an annual tradition and, go through any new acquisitions at the end of the year. Spoiler alert, there is at least one more guitar coming here in the near future as part of my Christmas present this year for my wife, but I won't be able to get that until February. More on that coming soon on the channel once all that happens, but kind of a special one for me. But stay tuned for that. We got more cover songs in the works always. I've been doing a lot of work on this original project with my buddy, but we do have some covers in the works as well. Just waiting on people to get parts done, and we'll start putting those together and getting them out to you. So stay tuned. Appreciate you guys checking out my guitar collection here, and we will catch you guys next time.